Good morning, everybody. Call the meeting to order. Do I have approval of the tentative agenda?
So moved. I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Amanda, would you please read the minutes of the last meeting?
Nope, we're gonna be here till noon, but. January 5th, 2026, Chairman Chairperson, I'm sorry. Chairperson Bosch called the regular meeting of the Wright County Board of Supervisors to order at 9 AM. Members present were Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Lukes to approve the tentative agenda. Motion carries. Approved claims for payment. In open forum, Adam Clemens, Wright County Engineer, gave an update on the secondary roads department. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Clues to set the mileage rate at 70 cents per mile for county employees for 2026. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to keep the current drainage warrant interest rate at 6%. Motion carries. Motion by Ellis and second by Rasmussen to approve the listed county employee holidays for 2026. Motion carries. Do you want me to go through those?
No.
Motion by Ellis and second by Clues to approve the petty cash amounts for the various offices listed below. Motion carries. And that's there too. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to appoint the eminent domain compensation commission for 2026. This is below. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Ellis to appoint the board of supervisors to various organizations. Motion carries. And that list is there. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to appoint the board of supervisors to various boards and committees listed below. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Ellis to appoint Eric Edie as the Wright County Drainage Attorney. Motion carries. Motion by Ellis and second by Clues to appoint Kelly Lease to Iowa Township as R.E. Aldridge resigned for a term to expire 12/31/2020. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to have the Wright County Monitor, Eagle Grove Eagle, and Belmont Independent as the official newspapers for the county business. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to approve the listed medical examiners, deputies, and investigators. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Lukes to approve the reappointment of Che Hansen to the Board of Adjustment for a 5-year term. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to approve the reappointment of Gabe Fiskus and Mike Ryerson to the Economic Development Board for a 3-year term. Kate Garner will also replace Todd Foss as the new clearing representative. Motion carries. Motion by Clues and second by Ellis to approve the Wright County Charitable Foundation Board as follows. Maybe you can see that listed. Motion by Ellis and second by Lukes to approve the reappointment of Angela Warren and Ashley Bosch for a 3-year term to the Wright County Board of Health. Motion carries. The Board of Health is as follows, and you can see that there. Motion by Clues and second by Ellis to approve resolution 2026-01, a resolution authorizing attendance at meetings by roll call vote. Ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Nays, none. Resolution 2026-01 duly passes and reads as follows. And there you see that resolution. Motion by Clues and second by Ellis to approve resolution 2026-02, a resolution for payment of claims prior to the board meeting. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Names, none. Resolution 2026-02 duly passes and reads as follows. So you can see that resolution there. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to approve resolution 2026-03, treasurer naming depositories. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Nays, none. Resolution 2026-03 duly passes and reads as follows. And you can see that resolution here. Motion by Clues, seconded by Rasmussen to approve resolution 2026-04, a construction evaluation resolution. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Nays, none. Resolution 2026-04 duly passes and reads as follows. And you can see that resolution there. Motion by Clues and second by Ellis to approve resolution 2026-05, sheriff naming depositories. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Nays, none. Resolution 2026-05 duly passes and reads as follows. And with that resolution. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to approve resolution 2026-06, recorder naming depositories. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Nays, none. Resolution 2026-06 duly passes and reads as follows. You can see that resolution there. Motion by Clues and second by Rasmussen to approve resolution 2026-07, a weed control resolution. By roll call vote, ayes, Clues, Rasmussen, Bosch, Luke, and Ellis, nays, none. Resolution 2026-07 duly passes and reads as follows. That's that resolution carried. Motion by Luke and second by Rasmussen to adjourn the meeting, motion carried.
Any additions or corrections? Can stand approved as read. Claims have been around, open forum for public input.
Yes, I'd like to make a board. This goes out to Natasha Brigger, I hope I'm saying it right. Right come up front here. She's a dispatcher for our 911 and she's done an awesome job. We just want to give her this award for what she has done for us.
Let's say a word.
It is for in recognition of exceptional performance during the critical incident. Thank you.
Anybody else for open forum? Okay. Mary Ingham, Allison Clava, and Rachel Connor from Crisis Intervention Services to give our annual update. Yep, you can sit right there if you'd like, watch your knees.
Thank you for allowing us to come today. My name is Mary Ingham. I am the Executive Director of Crisis Intervention Service. We are a private nonprofit organization that provides comprehensive services to individuals, families, and communities impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, trafficking, homicide. We typically meet people on the worst day of their life, and then we're there to walk alongside them. I'm happy to be with our two staff from Wright County. I'll let them introduce themselves and share a little bit about what we do. Or they do.
Oh, sorry. I'm Rachel Connor, the domestic abuse advocate. I serve Wright, Hamilton, Hardin, and Franklin counties. Every day can look a little bit different. I serve people who are just coming out of a abusive relationship or just beginning the process of, I do like safety planning, medical advocacy, law enforcement advocacy. The list can go on, just their daily needs and what they need.
And I'm Allison Clayball. I'm the sexual assault advocate for Wright County. I also cover Hamilton and Webster County as well, primarily for my Wright County work. I'm working mostly with youth survivor. So talking under the age of 18. I work primarily with our local law enforcement to assist with cases that are going through the criminal justice process. And working with our schools to ensure that I can meet kiddos at a safe space to just provide that emotional support and safety planning. So last year in Wright County, we provided crisis services to 65 households. And we refer to a household because when violent crime occurs, it impacts the whole household, not just one person typically. And the total value of our crisis services last year was $67,677.85. We provided housing and financial assistance to 11 households, totaling $5,901.30. And this is everything from maybe helping someone with a deposit or first month's rent, sometimes helping people catch up on their utilities, gas, food, whatever those basic needs are to help them stabilize and then help rebuild their lives. We facilitated 4 prevention and education programs in the county, reaching 900 individuals. So we invested a little over $75,000 last year in Wright County to help individuals and families heal from the trauma of abuse and then reclaim their lives and hopefully live their best lives moving forward. The services that we provide are services that no one ever plans to have in their life. No one wakes up thinking this is the day I hope I get to meet the advocates at Crisis Intervention Service. The great thing is that they are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to respond to crisis. Typically the types of crisis we work with don't happen Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. Which is why we are there at all hours. We do have an office here in Clarion, just down the road, block and a half, 2 blocks.
210 South Main.
Even though we have a physical space, most of the work we do is out and about in the community. We find it's much easier for us to take ourselves to where people are at, meeting with people in schools, in the workplace. We'll meet in a coffee shop, wherever it is that people want to meet, to help reduce those barriers. So that's what we do in a nutshell. Any questions for us?
Yeah, we had gotten a letter
Oh,
from
yes.
you guys. And did you used to have another name? Has it always been called Crisis Intervention Services, or was it another name before?
In 2013, prior to 2013, the Domestic Sexual Abuse Outreach Center from Fort Dodge, DSOC, had an office in Wright County. In 2013, the state restructured how victim services were provided. They focus on sheltering, and then we now focus on the crisis work and the prevention work. So
Okay.
prior to 2013, there was a different agency providing that.
Okay.
And DSOC still provides shelter care for people in Wright County.
Okay. That's good. And they had sent a letter and were requesting $1,000 from the county supervisors. And I thought that would be good advertising, since the newspaper always
Yeah.
writes, to let people know, citizens in Wright County know that you're here, that you have services. The best way to get services when you are knowledgeable.
Yes.
And so,
Thank you.
that's why I called and asked that they be put on the agenda and kind of pat yourselves on the back on the services that you provide and the things that you can do for Wright County.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other?
Other questions?
Thank you. Can you,
Thank you.
can you give any success stories maybe for everyone?
All day long.
All day.
I think one of the biggest, success stories for me, obviously, is watching, some of the survivors that I've worked with at younger ages. I've been at this agency for 8 years, so I've watched, kiddos maybe at the age of 6 that are now going into high school. I've even had some that have graduated high school, and watching them be able to build their lives after such a significant trauma. I've also helped families be able to get into safe housing here within our own community, and be able to stay in the community. And that was very successful as well. But I think one of the biggest success stories is obviously how we've been able to work with all of the other agencies in our community. For Rachel and I, it's personal because we also live here. This is our community. And to work with local law enforcement in our schools and our public health system to ensure that we're providing the best services to our neighbors, our friends, to everybody in our community is obviously the biggest success story for us. So
Awesome. Thank you.
We talk about some of that gearing towards opioid, or using opioid dollars
Mhm.
to help with that, so I'm sure there's ones that you have that are this drug related. So, I think that's what.
Yes, that
that's
was
what
one is.
precipitated this.
Yes, is it possible to use opioid dollars? We get money, every year, and I think it's gonna be for what, 17 years, 16 years? It's a long time.
Mhm.
For opioid, and so, but it is for prevention. There's some criteria, and so that's why, I didn't know if Sandy could work with you a little bit and see if there's the $1,000 can be maybe used towards an opioid program on prevention.
And one of the things that people much smarter than us, researchers have determined is that children that are victimized at a young age, if they get early intervention and help, they can go on and lead very, very healthy lives. What we see is when children, teens, and adults don't get that crisis response that they need, that they don't get those supportive services, oftentimes they will tend to look to other ways to deal with the pain and the trauma. And one of those ways is oftentimes drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
So I mean, I really think that early intervention piece is a great connection to.
And you also work with Allen Child Protection,
Yes.
who has the Family Resiliency Program, and that's those dollars that we gave for the Family Resiliency Program that we got that award for.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's early screening on prenatal or, children that have been exposed to drugs so they can get the preventive services. You know, before they go to school and everybody goes, oh, actually, it's cool.
Mhm.
So I think it does fit in, so
Okay, yeah,
that was
perfect.
one of the reasons.
All right. Well, we'll be going through budget, discussions next week and then trying to hammer out everything, but mainly I'd like you to work with Sandy McGrath. And, she's kind of the control of the opioid dollars for the most part. There is, I think you still have a committee
We have an opioid task. I
task
think I
force.
have you down on the email.
Okay.
I just run everybody off because it's 7 in the morning, at 7:30 this time.
Okay. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
It's 7:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's your start.
Okay, moving on, we're gonna receive the monthly revenue report from the Wright County Sheriff's Department. County cars, service fees and mileage, $1,589.09. County new and renew weapons permits, $520, and copy fees of $20 with a total of $2,129.09.
Motion to approve the monthly revenue report from the Wright County Sheriff.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Receive the quarterly revenue report from the Wright County Auditor. Copies, I have $9.50, plat books and maps, $1,035. No fireworks permits, voter registration list, $10, and no public record requests, for a total of $1,054.50.
I'll make a motion to receive the quarterly revenue report from the Wright County Auditor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Peggy Slutenhofer, Wright County Treasurer, to consider abatement of taxes on a mobile home.
So we had a customer in last week, I think. Who has several years of delinquent taxes on his mobile home in Eagle Grove. Come to find out, the mobile home was actually burned down in 2017, so he had to stop paying taxes on it. So we need to abate those, so that no longer exist. The total abatement needed is $1,734.
1,100.
734.
I'll make a motion to abate the taxes on a mobile home in Eagle Grove for $1,734.
Second.
The motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Thank you.
Jerica Beecher, Wright County Emergency Management Director, to present fiscal year 2027 emergency management financials. With her pal Hayes.
It's just more courtesy for you guys. My commission has decided to switch from per capita to a levy. So that will now be fully funded out of the, general supplemental. And then the 70,000 that you guys have coming out of your general basic will now be switched to general supplemental, so saving you guys some money there. And on top of that, we have the opportunity to run communications through as a pass-through of emergency management. So the money that you're using towards communications right now will also go to general supplemental and will no longer be under general basic, so freeing up some money in there for you guys.
Any questions?
So the amount of the 77,000 that we pay out of emergency management, the county contributes to emergency management.
Yep.
We have the option to either pay out of supplemental or general basic. And for the past several years, we've been paying it out of supplemental.
Oh.
And
Okay.
so that won't change. This last year, however, we've been, because of House File 718 and fund balances, we were moving things from supplemental to general basic, so that when we have to all of a sudden do the big drop to $3.50, we can move it back to supplemental and make room in the general basic again. So that won't change, the going over to, for communications. Who would be the, who's the, which, if it goes under emergency management, the communication center, will they be under your board?
So, I mean, she's not going under me, like, I'm not in charge of it. But I'll let her talk about
Right,
it.
it still will be, the pass-through will still have to go through the commission, so yes, I would be under, the communication center would be under the commission board.
So they would make the decisions on
That's the way I understand it,
employees and
yes.
salaries and.
Yes, yep. So I think it's a good idea to go, to this because we're not collecting enough money through our surcharges, or through, not surcharges, that's 911, but through our per capita,
Mhm.
so.
I think this board understands what my thoughts are on some of these outside boards, when you have an outside board controlling a department. To me, it's really hard because they don't have the day on, the day by day information that, we meet weekly, they meet, what, twice a year?
No, we make more than that, and we also have one of you on the board,
Mhm.
so I mean,
Yeah.
that is your voting
Mhm.
member
Yeah.
for the commission, so you guys are not completely excluded from the emergency management commission. There is a member that sits on there from the board of supervisors.
There's Iowa code that says the 911 board or commission is set up that way with people from the
Mhm.
community, so
Mhm.
Iowa code kind of.
Yeah.
You couldn't take over the emergency management because of Iowa code, but communications just.
Yeah.
911 went under it.
Before I started.
Yeah, but our shortfall is gonna be so much this year, through the way we're doing it now,
Mhm.
that I think we don't really have a choice. So,
Mhm.
otherwise, cause the city our per capita is gonna have to double,
Mhm.
And then they won't be able to afford it.
Right.
Yeah. This will definitely help the cities out. a
I mean, it
ton.
needs to double now to cover this, so.
Yeah, because the 2% increase each year hasn't kept up with inflation and or
Correct.
anything.
Correct.
And then the
Especially
salary, after the
after-
salary adjustments.
Yes.
that's really made a
Yeah.
hard hit.
So basically, I don't know if we need to go to a vote,
We're
or
talking communications now.
communicate, yeah.
Mhm.
or
Oh,
that.
so we're moving on to
Yeah,
item 10. Okay.
they're kind of together, sorry.
No, that's okay. Discuss and act on communications financials.
So yeah, I don't know if we need to go to a vote on that.
I guess
Switch
I'd
from
like
a per capita to.
Is that something that has to be decided today, or can we see what our budget looks like? As we go through budget discussions next week and see. Where your budget is, what your.
So I think
Sorry,
I'm gonna
Lawrence.
say it's probably gonna need to be decided at least this week, because my budget's due before everyone else's, and if she goes under me, I have to have that done.
Mhm.
And we're meeting on Thursday.
meeting,
with
yeah.
the Commission, so.
Between now and Wednesday.
Huh. I guess I'd like to. We can't meet. Again before Wednesday.
No.
Mm-mm. What do you think is a good decision here?
I think switching them is gonna help you out a lot. I know your general supplemental is gonna go up
Mhm.
tremendously, but I'd rather you see it do a hit once and not do Jericho now and then come down the road where the cities can't up their per capita for her,
Mhm.
and you're gonna have to financially contribute again.
So
So
even
do a
if,
hit twice.
right, so
Once.
if. We did it, it wouldn't mean that the salaries would have to come out of. General basic or general supplemental, it wouldn't have to at this moment, it would give us an option, or are you saying?
Next fiscal year.
Next, yeah, for 26, 27,
Correct.
it would have to be paid out of? Or is it an option to be paid out of?
All of the communications benefits and salaries
Cause they're already there.
are under 61,000. You only contribute to her. And she gets contributation, or contributes from the cities, so. No, none of it is coming out of general supplemental, except for your contribution, which I think you moved to general basic this year, anyway.
And then the county, they used to put more towards communications budget, like 200,000 extra, I believe. And now it's 100,000 for the last couple years. So I'm not sure why that is.
There's a contract
An extra 100,000.
on the communication.
Yeah.
that
No, that has
cities-
nothing to do.
Yeah,
No,
but
that has nothing to do.
That's
Yeah.
what she needs to be looking for is
Right.
on that contribution, where's that kind of.
FICA and IFRS and health insurance, is that a supplemental?
Okay, but
Right.
her salaries
Correct, yes.
are
that
not,
I knew.
yeah,
Yeah,
but everything would move to, I mean, her salaries would move to general supplemental.
Everything, the entire budget is what.
Under the
Mhm.
emergency management, I wanna say EMS.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency management
You know,
levy. So if you guys were to do it, I mean, Jerica's already said that you have to, or not you have to. but
She's
she
going
is-
to.
but
She's
she's
doing
doing
it,
Yeah. Yep, so you're gonna take a hit this year with her. Now, whether you want to do it all at once and do boom, boom. Which, I mean, I would see you rather do that than
Mhm.
hit now and then hit again next year.
So I guess I question from there. Would this lower the city's levy rates then? It should be, right? Cause they wouldn't have to run
For
their per
both of
capita,
them.
right, for both of them?
Yeah.
So the city's property taxes would go down. Possibly, right? I would say this needs to be a part of that education. From that standpoint, there's to that commission of saying, hey, you need to go back to your councils and say. You're not gonna have to levy this per capita anymore, it's gonna be levied on another levy, general supplemental. So hopefully the cities can lower their levy rates too.
would it lower them?
Mhm.
They still would have their contribution.
No,
No.
so,
They don't
no,
contribute to us.
no,
They're-
they're
they're
not.
Zero
Not have the contribution.
Right,
So
so,
they'd be able to lower the
so if
levy
they
rate.
don't go to a levy. The cities are gonna actually have to raise their tax rate to cover for their contribution to Tiffin.
If they're not currently using a levy.
What are they doing? How are they doing that?
It's a.
How are they making money? How is the board, how is the city councils making money?
Eagle Grove uses a levy.
Correct. Based on a per capita calculation.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So if that per capita calculation is not there, you won't have that levy anymore. So your levy should go down. City levy, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
But the county levy is gonna take a huge hit because now we're not only going to do. What we're currently funding is about 200,000 to communication center. Plus the 77,000, cause you're not gonna be billing cities either anymore.
Correct.
That's
So-
gonna be a huge education piece.
It's gonna, so that's, instead of being 300,000. Our levy's gonna go up because how much do you bill the cities? It's about 400,000
No, it's 300 and some thousand.
300 something.
If that.
Yeah, so the county's gonna eat that another 300,000, so our levy rate's gonna go way up.
But right now, I mean. The county's gonna have to cover quite a bit. Of our shortfall, even this budget. Like fiscal year.
And why do you not, is that not a, per code, it's not an option to bill the city, to have the city still contribute?
It is, but it's an option for her to take communications under.
Yeah, and I can see that, I was just like, instead of county eating the whole amount.
If you don't do that, then you'll have to go to the cities, two of you, with Tiffin. And say that you're
This is what we
from
need.
$34 to 67.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna be happy. I mean, either way, it's not gonna, it has to do one way or the other. You're either gonna do it here where it gets spread all the way across the board, or you go to the cities, that's gonna spike them again in their city taxes.
Yeah, that'll double them.
Cause right now our per capita is paid out of rural services, I believe.
I didn't think it was.
Yeah. Our 97,373 paid out of services. And then the shortfall is paid out of general basic. So. Yeah. I was hoping to just see what the budget looked like, but I understand what you're saying.
I have to be able to set my public hearing and have that 10 to 20 days and.
Yeah,
Right.
'cause your
before
budget is
February,
due.
February 28th.
Which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be on the same schedule.
Yeah. Have you heard any more on the grant for your building?
We tabled that for now.
Cause I had seen that the USDA had some grants available, but I don't know if they've been all given out already.
Yeah,
So-
I looked into the USDA ones for this year,
Mm-hmm.
not for this year. I can look into it again next year.
Cause that's gonna be another big expense.
Yeah, if we go to that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. The building up.
They need a motion to move her wages over to
No, her whole
the
budget.
whole budget
And
over.
then pass through under emergency management.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the hardest part is that I don't feel like we have enough information to really do it without knowing what our budget's gonna look like this year. I was really hoping for that bad as a final year, that's why it's 7/18, moving down.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Yep.
Just a quick update, so blades are out, we had some good week to go out and get any corrugations and ice off the roads, with some, freeze thaw. We are seeing some rutting, so we're keeping an eye on that. We have a couple good days here, first of the week, so, probably gonna see some more rutting, but it does sound like it's gonna have, a system come through, at the end of the week. We did get some, riprap from the Goldfield, Semstone, location. About 90 loads of riprap went to the Eagle Grove shed, either for use of crushing, which I plan to do part of that, and then also riprap for bridges and culverts. Completed 12 work orders, mainly signs, one mailbox. Taylor Avenue Bridge looks like, they are. We're gonna have a discussion with them. Sounds like they're gonna lay off their guys at the end of this week. They're gonna get to a point where they can only pour concrete. But we gotta make sure, we're making sure that they could have to be at the point of pouring concrete. Which means to me that they would need to have their car set up on top, ready to pour concrete, their street. So if they don't have that, I'm gonna have a conversation with the DOT and would say, you guys can come do that until you can't do concrete. I mean, period, can't pour concrete. So, and if they don't come back in, we'll keep charging them. If that's the case, if I have that ability to do so on days. So, we're working through that this week. Any questions on that?
So I was there this week or last week and there's only 2 guys working. Is that what they're at down to?
Yeah. So, like I said, we're working through that with the DOT. We shouldn't be in this position. It's not because of us.
Right.
Seismic testing, Nate got an update from the, seismic guys, route update. They're in Webster County right now and may come back, here soon. Just depending on what their needs are gonna be to, finish up. Got another load of, bulk salt. We're at 77% of our 500 tons. And then we did have a, weather response on one of them, so.
Mhm.
Any questions?
Thank you,
I'll
Adam.
keep you updated on that too.
Any old business? Any new business? Update on meetings.
We went on that, seismic tour
Mhm.
over in Belmont. Uh. Feels all right.
I thought it was interesting to see the different, I mean, all the different testing as they're digging down. They're at 530 feet down. They're planning on going to 10,000, possibly 12,000 feet. They put it in a perspective that's 2 miles. So if you drive 2 miles, they're going straight down.
Right.
So the process that it goes into it is mainly, because a lot of it was very technical. But the process was very interesting, and it was a group of people, that was there.
It was
I mean,
nice to see some
Yep.
legislators there.
Yeah, there was senators, there was, House members, supervisors. It was an interesting group.
They are definitely getting a taste of what an Iowa winter is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are dealing with pumps being frozen and they had to put a shroud around the entire place for the working deck because the guys were just getting blasted with wind.
It would have been nice to see the mechanics of the whole thing, is my opinion.
Mhm.
Like
Go
actually
up
been
on the
up
deck.
on the rig and
On the rig,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah. They get to see some cool rocks though.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the other thing. They said that the rock formations here in Iowa is way different than Oklahoma and Texas or Alabama.
Yeah,
It's harder rock,
right.
and it takes different tips, or is
Yeah.
that what it's called, a tip, or is it a
Yeah, they're
drill
their
head?
head, they're drill
Yeah,
head.
drill head.
Well, he said sometimes it'll just go through like cheese and sometimes it'll be like, can't go anywhere.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Okay, anything else before the board of supervisors?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will be in recess for 5 minutes. And reconvene as drainage trustees.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we are back as drainage trustees. Do I have approval of the tentative agenda?
So moved.
Give me a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Courtney, would you please read the minutes of the last meeting, please?
The last meeting was January 5th, 2026. The Wright County Board of Supervisors met in regular session as trustees of the drainage districts with the following members present: Rasmussen, Clues, Bosch, Lukes, and Ellis. Also present were Amanda Bonner, auditor, and Courtney Morris, drainage administrator. Other interested parties via Zoom were Robert Watts. Chairperson Bosch called the meeting to order at 9:47 a.m. Motion by Rasmussen and seconded by Lukes to approve the tentative agenda. Motion carried. Minutes of the previous meeting on December 22nd, 2025 were read and approved. There were no drainage claims for payment needing approval. There was one work order that was reviewed and approved for JDD 159-8 on lateral 1, section 36 of Iowa Township, for a possible plug tile through trees restricting drainage from field on the north. Morris presented the following 4 drainage invoices. First one was for NIMASTER for DD 45-Big 4 professional services for 28E agreement for $422.50. The next one is for NIMASTER for DD 36 professional services for railroad repairs. And that was at $3,347.50. Third one's for Agravia PLLC for DD 169 professional services for $4,100. And the fourth one's for Jacobson Westergaard and Associates for JDD 162-7 professional services for $732.50. Motion by Clues, seconded by Rasmussen to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried.
Any additions or corrections?
No, but I do have a question. Can you refresh my memory on the Big 4 28E agreement? Is that an old one from a while ago, or is that?
That's the one that the Hardin County
is wanting to do doesn't wanna do the MOU, they wanna do a 28E. We've been going back and forth. I did share that invoice with them,
Mhm.
so we will have to come back together as a joint call,
Okay.
so.
All right, minutes are approved as read. Um. Approved drainage claims.
We had 3 drainage claims. There was 4 that were approved last week, but one of them was for, we were not the controlling county, so that was sent off to the controlling. So the 3 remaining claims total $8,180.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Open forum for public input regarding drainage districts.
I know that, I don't know that if it's really the drainage district, but it is with the pipeline, there is a group that is meeting in Des Moines tomorrow
Okay,
for the pipeline, but,
perfect.
and I'm trying to get my schedule
Sorted.
sorted, so.
Perfect. Okay, review and act on any drainage work orders.
Now we have no work orders.
Okay. Review and act and sign any open drainage invoices.
No invoices.
Take action on setting a date and time of bid letting deadline and bid letting for brush and weed control contract for 2026 to 2028. And direct drainage administrator to publish bid notice for 2 consecutive weeks.
So the contract is actually 2026 to 2027. It
Okay.
ends at the end of 27. So it was a
Sorry.
fat finger on the calendar
Typo.
when I put it in. But I have gone through and I have updated the brush and weed control contract that we did 2 years ago for the first time. And I have put in that Ashley is now the new chairman for this one, or chairperson, and updated those to say chairperson. I have corrected all the dates for this next round, and it is ready to go for February 9th, 2026 through December 31st of 2027. I also have the publication ready to go into the newspapers for 2 consecutive weeks like we did the last time. And I have the letters ready to go to the same contractors that I sent out to 2 years ago. And we have already had a phone call on a company that would like to have a bid packet sent to them that we've not used before. So the word is getting out there that we are doing the bid letting, so.
Perfect.
Looking to put the notice in the paper for the weeks of January 19th through the 23rd and January 26th through the 30th. And would like to have the bid letting deadline be February 6th of 2026 at 3 p.m. So they would have to have their bids into the auditor's office by that date and time. And then have the bid letting to open up those bids on February 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m.
I'll make a motion to set the date of February 9th at 9:30 a.m. to open up bids for the drain bid letting for the brush and weed control. And do a publication for 2 consecutive weeks and have that date of February 6th at 3 p.m. The deadline to receive those bids.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will be in recess for 10 minutes. Session, for John Torbert to give an annual IDD update.
Got 3 minutes. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud?
Sometimes you
You.
want to keep it inside.
Okay, any questions? No, thanks.
Wash your knees, John, when you
Thanks for driving.
sit in.
How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Will? I don't have a huge agenda of things to talk about. Probably in another week I would. Being as this is the first week of the legislative session, legislators come in today. What I can tell you is that, you know, obviously we're in the middle of the session. This is the second year of the session. We don't have any, what I would say at this point, big bills out there that we're concerned about. But the cautionary note is that the scuttlebutt that we're getting on the inside, and we're good at getting that. We have good people that are part of that are in the rumor mill, which is where you want to be if you're in the legislative process. You want to know what's going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of conversation that water policy is going to be a big issue this year. And we don't know what that looks like yet. This is, you know, the last year of Governor Reynolds' term. She's not running for reelection, so that makes things interesting. And when you have, you know, people saying things like this is going to be a big year for water policy, we don't know what that means for drainage yet. I assume some way or shape or form, we're gonna be involved in that. But the comfort level that I have is knowing that we have good people working for us in the legislative process on both sides of the aisle, and we did that on purpose. So that we know what's going on and we can be part of those discussions. We're gonna make sure that drainage rights are protected. And that you all are protected as the people who run the drainage districts in your county. We always have your interest at heart, and we will continue to do so. So I don't know what this year holds. But we're very cautious as we head into the session. But again, the comfort level I have on my part is that we know we'll be part of the process. We're not gonna be on the outside looking in. And as things come up that we need to discuss with membership, we will certainly have those discussions. We've got a great board of directors. I wish Dean were here. But we've got a great IDDA board, and I can say that I'm truly blessed for the number of years that I've done this job, that I've always had good boards of directors. And I can, you know, I talk to other executive directors of other nonprofits that have boards that are difficult to get along with, or have boards that like to make the life of the executive director difficult. I have never had that, and that's really rare. That is really rare. So I feel blessed, and that's one of the reasons I'm still doing this, is I like what I do on a daily basis. I know that I can get up every morning and like what I do, as opposed to the alternative is important to me. So obviously we'll watch the legislature very closely this year, and when we need to have input, we will have that input. We had a good annual conference this year. I think our attendance was about what it normally is. I think the only curveball we had was the hotel that we have been using for our meeting site for as long as I've been around is frankly going through some changes. Ownership wise, we're working with new people that we haven't worked with before, and they are changing how they use the facility. That big back room, if you've been to the conferences in the past, is not going to be used as a conference facility anymore. Told it's gonna be a restaurant. So, you know, change. And what does that change mean? Does that mean that we you know, have another meeting like we did this year in a smaller room? Does that mean that we look around and find another facility? I will say, you know, we do evaluation forms at the meeting. That isn't just for show. I do tabulate those. I go through every one. I do a summary of it. Every response is recorded. If anybody writes there's always a space at the bottom, you know, anything else you wanna say, any comments you have, any recommendations, all of those are recorded. All of those are seen by my board of directors. So, you know, we'll take a look at things and see where we are, and if
What
we
was
need to
what
contemplate.
was a common comment?
Pardon me?
What was one of the common comments on it? I thought the room was small. I thought it was.
It was.
And it was hard to see the screen because of the.
Yeah.
But, and maybe it's just.
And it was a
short.
curveball to me. I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I walked in and went, what's going on here? Yeah, it was a much smaller room. I mean, it did hold the people,
Mhm.
but it was a much smaller room, and, you know, I don't know, you know, we'll talk about that as a board of directors and see what they wanna do. Cause that's apparently what's gonna be in the future.
Mhm.
The comments that I had, we didn't have a lot of comments here or nay on the room. I specifically asked about the facility.
Okay.
And we had a few negative comments like, you know, why aren't we in the big room? And I agree, you know, why aren't we in the big room? But, that's not gonna happen anymore, I guess.
Perfect.
So, annual meeting, I think went well. We, you know, we also have, a summer meeting. That was something we started a couple of years ago. I had a drainage administrator come in, he said, you know, the highlight of my year as a drainage administrator is the annual conference when we can do a breakout.
Mm.
And really get down to the nitty gritty. Why don't we do that twice a year? I thought, oh, well, that's a good idea. So we started doing that, and we go in and we don't have an agenda. It's just, we're gonna bring our people. It's myself as executive director, Doug Strike as our legal counsel, Motabon is our lobbyist. All three of us are gonna be there, and we're gonna sit down and discuss whatever you wanna discuss. And I think this last summer was the third year we did it, third or fourth, they sort of blend together after a while. First one I came into, I had a concern, number one, anybody can show up? And secondly, what the heck are we gonna talk about for 3 hours? Coming into a meeting as executive director without an agenda is no, that just, our agenda is open time, you know?
Yeah.
But as it turns out, that has never been an issue. Matter of fact, I think we could probably go into the afternoon and still have more discussion. We always fill the time, and it seems like, we always have to sort of break the discussion off to end the meeting, so maybe one of the things in the future is extending that meeting out, so. The lunch part of it. I've avoided doing a lunch because that then involves getting into registration costs and meal costs and all those kind of things, and in the past have been able to avoid that. We've just held the meeting out of our own budget without any additional registration. We start doing a meal and that changes, and it changes the dynamic of the meeting, so we'll discuss that.
Has any legislative proposal been brought up through the drainage administrators that something that they would like to see maybe law change so that it makes administrating the drainage districts easier?
We're always open to legislative change. Frankly, we don't have anything this year specifically that IDDA is proposing in terms of changes. If we have things that come out of the drainage administrators, we obviously put those on our agenda. We don't have any anywhere.
I know that Senator Sweeney is working on getting, so that drainage districts are put on the abstracts, are listed on abstracts. And, I don't know if that has legs to run down with the hill with, or whether it's
Oh,
gonna hit a dead end.
that was passed,
It was passed.
yes.
Okay.
And,
Perfect.
we had a big discussion about that. This year, that was about some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be an ongoing discussion. I don't know if anybody is gonna come forward with changes on that to try to amend that legislation. We've heard some discussion in the background that there may be a proposed changes to that, but they're not gonna be sponsored by IDDA. at this point.
No, I think it's a good thing to put it on there, because we get a lot of people that get a drainage tax assessment, and then they don't know, well, what is this for? And I didn't know that that land was in drainage district, and some absentee landowners that it maybe inherit ground or something like that, so.
One of my
So I
favorite
like having it
stories
in
that I've maybe told here, it's a few years ago, I got a call in my office, and, you know, you always hate the calls to start with, I got your name off the internet. I said, okay. And she introduced herself. She says, I'm an attorney and I have a client who, lives in Florida, but he owns farmland in Iowa. And she said, somebody told him that farmland's a really great investment. So he bought some farmland, not this county, I won't say which county. Lives in Florida, and, you know, 4 months into owning farmland gets a very large drainage assessment. Well, thousands of dollars. Had no idea what it was. What a drainage district was. Called his attorney and said, can you find out whether, you know, do I really owe this? And so I sort of went through, you know, drainage 101 with her. I said, well, you know, here's the deal. We're in a drainage district, and if there's repairs or improvements in that district, your client is going to pay a proportionate share of that based on whatever benefit was assigned to them when the drainage district was created. And, yes, it is something that he will have to pay, and there's not a lot of options about that.
Right.
It was like, wow. Had no idea. So, yeah, I think there's information out there that, you know, should be shared, and people understand what they're getting into when they buy farmland. Sure.
Annette did mention at the IDDA meeting, the conference, that they are still working through what the steps on that is going to look like.
Like administrative rules.
For recording and how the process is gonna go. So they've had some meetings with the different offices, the representatives for recorder's office, I think it's treasurer's office. They all had a big get together and sit down discussion. And she learned a lot of that meeting, she said, on how processes are done and programs that the recorder's office uses compared to the auditor's office. So they're working on the how it's gonna get.
Yeah, it is a bill that's
Implement.
gonna require communication in the courthouse. Sometimes that's not a problem, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Some courthouses get along, some don't get along there.
Right.
Don, will you mention about, or kind of give an update if you have one about the railroad, that case?
Yeah, we'll be talking about this in a future newsletter, but we got involved in a case, sort of after the fact, we had a situation where, there was a county that was not a member of IDDA, so we didn't know about it, that got in a dispute with a railroad. They had sent out, I think it was an improvement, billing for an improvement. And the railroad said, we don't want to pay that and we're exempt. And that went back and forth for a while, and it ended up that the railroad sued the county. And the board of supervisors acting as drainage trustees for the county, they sued the county and said, we're not gonna pay this. We don't owe it. We're exempt under some federal preemption act.
Is that Floyd County?
Hmm?
Is that Floyd County?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that went forward and, at the district court, the county lost. And the attorney for the county came to us and said, I'm gonna try to get this before the Supreme Court. And I'd like your all help. I'd like you to file a front of the court brief if we can get it heard at the Supreme Court level. And we said, sure, yeah, we knew nothing about it because it wasn't a member county, so it wasn't even on our radar, so. We got involved and the Supreme Court only picks up about 10 to 15% of the cases that they get referred. Most of them they just let stand, and this luckily got picked up and the court said, we will hear this case. So that was one, it was actually getting a hearing.
Right.
And, secondly, going before the court, we did file with under the court brief. I think the case was heard in September. First or second week, I actually went to the hearing, the Supreme Court hearing, because I'm sort of a junkie. And it's fun, in a weird sort of way, it's fun to watch Supreme Court hearings. They're very interesting give and take between the attorneys and to watch the mood of the room and the facial expressions and how the justices are reacting, even though they're not saying things. Are they being persuaded by the attorneys? It's just a fascinating dynamic. So I did go to the hearing and I felt leaving the hearing that I felt what I would say is guarded optimism. Just from the questions the justices asked and how they responded to the attorney for the county and how they responded to the attorney for the railroad, I felt pretty good that we were gonna come out of that. And Supreme Court did rule on behalf of the county. So again, this is the second big railroad case we have on the books now, where the railroads have lost. They keep trying to find creative ways to get out of paying drainage assessments, and so far we've been able to hold the line in two court cases, so we feel good about that. And I think, I don't know, but I think IDDA's involvement made a difference. When we weren't involved, they lost. When we were, they won. I think it makes a difference. Is that a cause and effect? I'm not sure, but I feel good about it.
Has Floyd, have you told them about joining IDDA?
I have not specifically talked to them in person, but I will. Yes. Anything else?
Our state legislature will probably looking into water quality. How's that gonna affect drainage?
Well, that's the key question. Like I said, the inside information we have is gonna be a big year for water policy, and water quality is I think gonna be on that agenda. What that means for drainage, we don't know yet, but we'll be there and representing your interest.
Nitrates will be a big issue on it.
I don't see. Have to be careful, I don't see this legislature doing anything particularly onerous. Because that's not the way they've approached these issues in the past, but you never know.
Right.
Well, thanks for coming.
Always
Thank
good
you
to
for
be
what you
here.
do. Anything else for John? All right. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed,